Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on Seattle 11.
Hey, welcome into another exciting episode, the debut for season number 5 of Home Track Heroes here on Seattle 11, presented by Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Welcome back for season number 5, the kickoff to 2024, and Monroe Grocery Outlet season opener number 1. I am Caleb Hart, the voice of the tips. Greg Pyland is in here with us, and Greg, welcome back. Race season is here.
You know, it's always very exciting when you get towards that March time frame because you know you start to hear the cars out on the track again practicing, but very excited to be back for another season of Home Track Heroes.
There is nothing like the smell of race fuel and hearing cars go around our multiple courses here at Evergreen Speedway. Heck, we even upgraded the set this year. We got some laptops in front of us, and we're looking forward to bringing you guys a good time. Heat race action kicks us off on the night. The Tire Pros Street Stocks are first up, and your lineup looks like this. Your pole sitter is Brent Rohr, the 15, sponsored by Hornet Motorsports, and next to him is the 69 of Austin Camp, brought to you by Milberg.
Row number 2, the 03 of Blaine Fagerly, sponsored by Jason at Stingray Auto Repair in Redmond, and on the outside, the 06 of Steve Potasic, brought to you by Lang Auto Sports.
The 22 is Kenny Erickson. He's sponsored by Central Welding. The 14 is Chase Jones, sponsored by Whisper Cool. And your 7th place starter is Jerry Helm in the 27, sponsored by Tiger Construction. 8 laps for scheduled distance here on this first heat race, and we're underway with the 15 of Rohr leading them through corner number 1. And on the outside, there's Camp digging for your lead down the back straightaway.
Yeah, what a kind of fun, exciting start to this heat race. Just in turn number 2, you see the 69 of Austin Camp going wide. Now we're just about 3 wide here as we see a nice move to the inside here coming across the start-finish line. That's going to be the 06 of Steve Potasic, but there goes the 06 once again here out on the outside down the backstretch.
All of a sudden, you thought that Rohr and Camp were going to make a Potasic sandwich, but Potasic right through the middle, and fast line for him. Quickly, the former Trek champion out into the top spot with 6 laps to go. Potasic, Rohr, and the 03 of Fagerly, your top 3. Now, heat races here at Evergreen Speedway, they do not pay money. They do not affect starting position in the main event, but they are for all-important season championship points that come the end of September, early October. You got to tally as much of those as you can get. Generally, doing well in heat races is going to give you a much better shot as far as the season total goes.
And absolutely, and you see towards the end of the season, too, where those points make so much of a difference, right? You just think about, if I could have made that practice, if I could have been out for that heat race, it really starts to come down to just those final last few points that they could have taken advantage in one of these heat races.
Right now, it is Potasic with a healthy advantage over Rohr. Rohr, the old school Camaro look, doesn't have one of the next-gen bodies on him. Appreciate that. Our lone Canadian competitor in the field in the street stocks as he's trying to keep Fagerly off of him. Fagerly's got everything he can deal with the newly reskinned Austin Camp car. Now a 2-car operation. We'll see the second car of that team coming up in the next heat race. Right now, battles for second between the 03 of Fagerly and the 15 of Rohr.
Fagerly making a great move down the backstretch now into 3, working into 4, and just getting by now, so he's able to pass by the 15 of Brent Rohr and into that second spot as the 03 of Blaine Fagerly. And here comes a 69 of Austin Camp, and Camp is going to do the same thing, working to the inside out of turn number 2 down the backstretch. So some big losses there for Brent Rohr, going from second all the way to 4th now.
And unfortunately, just one more lap to try to make it back up, hoping for a mistake up ahead of him. Potasic well into your lead. Fagerly second. Camp, nice rally back into 3rd, has one more lap and a couple of car lengths to try to get by Blaine if he can do so. However, doesn't look like it's going to happen, and chalk one up for the former champ, Steve Potasic. The Lang Auto Sports 06 takes the checkered flag. They'll win our first heat race of the year here on Home Track Heroes, followed by Fagerly and Camp. So 1 down, 1 to go. We're going to move forward. Buzz in Stinger 8 heat race coming up here next. And the Stinger 8's always fun. That intersection going to get messy in a hurry, Greg.
It's going to be a lot of fun excitement here for our Buzz in Stinger 8s. So starting off in your front row, you have the 03 of Lucas Hassenfluck, brought to you by Edward K&S Construction. On the outside, the 8 of Jacob Funk.
It's row number 2, the 20, Riley Riddell, the DL Enterprises car. Next to him, the veteran Randy Moffitt. The 102 is sponsored by B&R Drywall.
Row number 3, the 16 of Peyton Hopp, brought to you by Papa's in Monroe. The outside, the 13 of Tyler Draper, brought to you by Zach Bristol. And finally, the 42 of Robert Smith, sponsored by Honda and Toyota of Seattle.
Smith was awfully quick in time trials, so he's going to have a way to make it up over this fully inverted field as we go green. And it is Hassenfluck now out into the early advantage. Funk second. There's Moffitt, the veteran, trying to close the door as you get the up-close shot of Riley Rudell following him behind into the North Pole.
Yeah, and just love to see Riley Riddell kind of working his way up. We saw him, years ago in the Youth Hornet division, and now kind of working his way up in the Buzz and Stinger 8s. Really fun to see that 20 car out here. Hopefully he'll be out in a truck as well, but we'll see how the season kind of progresses. But in the meantime, the 03 of Lucas Ossenfluck just kind of running away early on in the seed race.
Spoiler alert for you, we're going to get to see him later on in this program in a different division. In fact, as he is registered in the Hornet class. So we'll see him in the PRCB Hornets running, I believe, the road course tonight coming up. Check that out right now. He's trying to make a move, and he got a whole lot of fender from Moffitt. Moffitt backs out of it. Rudell holds the third spot for now as we're quickly 3 laps down in this heat.
Yeah, and Moffitt, like you said, in the 102 coming up a little bit hard, but like you said, nice back off there to allow Riley to kind of correct there and get back on track. And the 8 car right now, if Jacob Funk is still trying to hold off as Moffitt trying to work to the inside, gets around Riddell as they come around, and now it's the 102 in that third spot ahead of Riley Riddell.
Yeah, Randy found some speed here in the offseason as he's picking them up, putting them down. He's got a look inside of Funk, gets that right front fender in there. Funk gets a little bit loose, but lets him gather it back up, and now there's Draper on the inside. To the inside, call it 2 for 1. He's getting there. Robert Smith also getting his way through and ends up parked here on the inside of the left-hand or the right-hand turn in the South Pole.
And I was just about to say, unfortunately for Peyton Hopp, he was kind of caught on that outside, and so he was being slowed down just a little bit by Jacob Funk. But when you see the 42 of Robert Smith kind of get into that accident on the inside lane, Hopp was in a really great spot to avoid that, any kind of contact.
Those doors close really, really quickly as they're racing around the inside of what's a 5th mile track. There's Hopp once again, the former Hornet champion in the black and yellow 16, bringing Moffitt through. And they're currently going to sit just outside your top 3. Now Moffitt looking inside as Hopp's on the wheel, and you can see him working those hands hard inside the steering wheel as he corners around to the right. The next time by for those two, they will get a white flag, and now it is Hopp officially registering in 3rd.
Yeah, so great move there by the 16 of Peyton Hopp, kind of starting towards the middle back of the pack, and 16 car now sitting solidly in 3rd as we had the white flag, and there goes the 03 of Lucas Ossenfluck. One more turnaround, and the checkered flag is going to come out for this next heat race. And it's going to be the 03 of Lucas Hassenfluck, followed by the 13 of Tyler Draper. Rounding out the top 3 is the 16 of Peyton Hopp.
Way to get your season started by the guy with the most dangerous last name in all of broadcasting, Lucas Hassenfluck. Draper and Hopp will move forward. We move forward because just like that, heat race is done. A-main time coming up. Nelson Motorsports, our youth Hornet division sponsor, and they're on the track now going around. On the 5th mile, they'll make a circle instead of a figure 8 here on the Seattle 11, and you've got a 20-lap 8 feature coming up with Clint McCowan on the front row, the Complete Auto Repair Service 29, and Sawyer Holden, the Weather Right Roofing, number 32.
Row number 2 is going to be the 4 of Taylor Thompson, brought to you by Weather Right Roofing, and the 23 on the outside, Alexis Tubbs, brought to you by DL Enterprises.
Lila Mashburn, the 31, sponsored by General Car Wash. Hawk Jenkins, 35J, sponsored by Resch Printing.
Next row back is the 65 of Bryson Wingfield, brought to you by Papa Tony Hill, the 67X of Kylie Suryan, sponsored by James Peak Honest Transmissions.
Fast in the back row, Keegan Mooney, the 11, the custom auto repair specialist car. And next to him, Tanner Bjornson, the 01, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports. 10 cars, 20 laps. A reminder of all the divisions at Evergreen Speedway that run. The Youth Hornets are the one that does not run for a season championship points. So this is all about trophies and podiums for them. Year-long points be darned. We don't even keep track unofficially for them. So it's all about how many times can you hit the podium and how much hardware you can bring home. As McCowan and Holden will bring us slowly through, and we have got the Brandy Hood Promotions GoPro mount, the 01 of Tanner Bjornson from the back of the field as we get ready to go.
And like you said, Caleb, too, it's so much fun to watch these Youth Hornet drivers because, like you said, they're not going for points, but what they are going for is a lot of teamwork and a lot of pride, too, because you see how all of these Youth Hornets support the other drivers, too. There's so much good camaraderie between all of them. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Around early was Clint McCowan in turn number 1. However, he got her straightened out. So unfortunately, first to 10th, not a move he's going to want to learn to replicate, but hey, it happens early on in your Youth Hornet career. Youth Hornets 12 to 14 years old, and that's Sawyer Holden, the green 32, your early leader. And look at Tanner Bjornson almost running the tri-oval in the Misfit Motorsports 01, 10th to 2nd in 1 lap.
You weren't joking when you said there was a lot of speed in the back of that pack on the starting order, and Tanner Bjornson, I love to see that super wide lane that they take on the back end of the backstretch there, and we saw so many other drivers. Diesel Snyder last year would do the same thing, and now you see Tanner Bjornson in the 01 kind of taking advantage of that, being able to hold a little bit of speed coming out of turn number 2, going awful wide down the backstretch, and then having to tuck in on turn number 3, but it's working real well for the 01 right now.
And there's the hang-on part for him, so you can see he had pulled even with Holden. Now he's got the run to the inside of him going into 1 and 2, and he is going to make the pass coming out of the second corner, give the early lead to Tanner Bjornson. Now Holden, the only man brave enough to turn a Porsche into a Youth Hornet. Yes, that is a Porsche, by the way, is in the second position. It's classy looking, though.
It is, and it's a good-looking paint job. And the only thing I got to ask is, how is a Youth Hornet driver able to afford a Porsche? I can't afford one, and this kid's 12 to 14 years old, for crying out loud.
His parents must really like him. As we got one squirrely in the back of the field, that's Suryan in the 6700, Jenkins in the 35, making his way around. We've got 14 laps to go, and Hunter forward he goes. Mid-pack range thereabouts. Suryan and then Wingfield in the 65, Ashburn the 31, and Mooney in the reflective number 11 car trying to race up the high of the back straightaway.
Yeah, it looks like Keegan Mooney is trying to do the same thing Bjornson was doing, but unfortunately wasn't able to work out that time. And I think that was Lila Mashburn that was holding off, and there goes, looks like Mooney doing a little bit of the same thing, but Mashburn also doing the same thing. So that's a popular route to take on that backstretch there, just going wide.
It was a very strong test of the brakes coming through the corner right there, but they work. That's the good news.
Do.
Watching Wingfield in the 65 trying to chase down Suryan in the 67, and Suryan going to duck back to the inside of Jenkins. That is for fourth. Jenkins in the blue with multicolor number 35J, and Wingfield lingering behind, looking for opportunities. Laps go quickly on the 5th mile. Next time by for your leader, Tanner Bjornson, who's not even in screen, going to be halfway home.
And Hawk Jenkins, I love the numbers. I love the paint scheme of the American flag, but definitely a little bit difficult to be able to see as they're coming by each time. But nice way to paint and describe to those watching at home what that 35 is.
Yes, God bless the red, white, and blue, Jenkins, and God bless transponders as well as we look a little bit further back. There's your leader, Bjornson, still running the tri-oval, even though he's out in the lead. He's trying to put a lap on the 4 of Taylor Thompson. Thompson, easy to spot car, white with big purple, and he'll put Taylor a lap down here as he goes into the corner with 8 left.
And you just see how smooth Tanner Bjornson is, and it's still kind of going to that high groove. And we take a look back once again to the 65 Bryson Wingfield holding off the 11 of Keegan Mooney, but very, very smooth for Bjornson as we see a little bit of brake check there once again. So the good news is we have 7 laps to go, but the brakes are still working.
Take a look from the inside of Bjornson, and yeah, he is smooth as butter going on the roll as he comes through the corner. He's the veteran of the division now, though. He's been in the class for a solid 3 years. You expect him to age out at some point in time. But Bjornson, lots of experience. His runs are wide. You see him coming up on the 31 of Mashburn through the 3rd and 4th corners. Up on Lila, has the gap to the inside. Downstairs he goes. Can't quite get through at this point in time. We'll watch him off the back straightaway and make the pass.
Yeah, nice job there by Bjornson. And Mashburn, I think, doing the right thing too there, kind of going to the outside just a little bit, but not a lot of aggressive. Sometimes you might see some of the drivers that would maybe cut down on turn number 1 or turn number 2, not wanting to be lapped and going a lap down, but Lila Mashburn doing the right thing there, kind of moving to the outside, allowing Bjornson to pass on through.
This battle back in the field continues to be good. Bryson Wingfield is in 6th in the red, white, and blue 65 car, trying to hold off Keegan Mooney, sitting in the 7th spot. Down to just a few laps to go here. Mooney going to loop through the middle groove, around the outside, nothing doing there. As continuing to tick him down. There's Bjornson, your race leader, coming up on the back of the field. So he's trying to lap 6th and 7th with just a couple of laps to go. Bjornson, all kinds of fast.
Yeah, that's just wild to be thinking, like you said, in 7th place is Keegan Mooney right now in the 11 car, and Bjornson is coming up as the white flag flies, which is probably a really good thing for that 11 car who just gets into the back of the 65 of Bryson Wingfield, and Wingfield able to just tuck off, it looks like, but Bjornson just coming around now, turn 3 and 4, and looking very sharp, taking the first checkered flag of the season.
Congratulations, Nelson Motorsports Youth Hornet main event winner is Tanner Bjornson. Long ways back, and when I say a long ways back, there's Sawyer Holden in 2nd. Shout out, didn't talk about Alexis Tubbs. making her Home Track Heroes debut in the 23. We'll be back. More feature action coming up next on Home Track Heroes.
Alexis, world, Alexis. Well, first time out, third place, and also run for you. You had a lot of pressure there late. Did you feel it?
Yeah, I felt it.
And what did you do to combat the pressure? Did you have to tell yourself to stay calm on the restart?
Just to breathe, stay calm, and be patient.
Cool is this to get a third round opening night?
That's crazy.
Never imagined it ever?
No.
Well, you've got a lot of people who helped you get here. Why don't you take a second and thank them for helping you get up to the podium tonight?
Yeah, Winter Prices, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa.
You did great. Congratulations. Alexis Cox, ladies and gentlemen, in third place.
Sawyer, step on in here, take a look at the camera. You're live on TV, all that good stuff. You led for a little while in this race, and then all of a sudden Tanner was underneath you. What happened?
I don't even know. He just came up behind me randomly.
Randomly, as if he hadn't planned to catch up to you. He was just going to let you go.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great race for you anyways. You end up cruising around by yourself in second for a while. Are you happy with this finish tonight?
Yeah, I'm very happy since qualifying didn't really go as planned with some trouble with the gas.
Well, you got her all fixed up. You end up in second place, and you probably got to credit your crew for the fix, right?
Yep.
Who are they?
I'd like to thank Brian Estrin, Kurt, Holden Development Group, my dad, and that's it.
All right, grab that flag and take a picture. Sawyer Holden, second place tonight. He came up, he snagged it, and he drove away. Welcome, Tanner Bjornsson. What a run. Tell me a little bit about chasing down Sawyer.
It was hard. He was keeping me away for the while, but on turn 3 and 4, he went a little wide. I got right on him.
You had been driving this track a bit like a tri-oval. You had swung way wide onto the access road that we had paved the other year. Was that your strategy coming in, or did you just feel that out as you went?
It's the fastest line.
So you knew going in you were planning to go that high up on the racetrack?
Yeah.
And not surprised when it paid off?
Nope.
Well, here you are, first trophy of the year. Who do you want to thank?
My dad, my mom, my grandma, everyone that came out here, Wyside Steel, Stilly Auto Parts, Olympic Embroidery, and my YouTube channel, Misfit Motorsports.
Congratulations. Grab the checkered flag. There's your winner. And through the miracles of technology, back we are here in the booth for Home Track Heroes, presented by Gene Johnson Plumbing, Electrical, Cooling, and Heating. I am Caleb Hart. He is Greg Pyland, and we have got a Tire Pros Street Stock main event on the track for 30 laps. You lined up looks like this. Chase Jones in the 14, sponsored by Whisper Cool. He's flanked by the 22 of Kenny Erickson, sponsored by Central Welding.
Row number 2, it's Jim Fody in the 85, sponsored by Trademark RCS. On the outside, the 15 of Brent Rohr, sponsored by Hardy Motorsports.
Third row is Mike Shimmick, the Big Block Brewing number 7 in Austin Camp. The Milberg, sponsored number 69.
Row number 4, the 51 Jeff Watson, sponsored by SCE Snohomish County Trucking and Excavating. The 03 of Blaine Fagerly, sponsored by Jason at Stingray Auto Repair in Redmond.
The fifth row is Mike Marthaler, 44 car, sponsored by Direct Carpet Cleaning and House Cleaning. Steve Potasic's in the 06, sponsored by Lang Autosports.
Row number 6 is the 3 of Jesse Jensen, sponsored by Tire Pros, the shop of Arlington. On the outside, the 72 of Brian Thornborough, sponsored by Omni Contracting Solutions.
And the final row is Jerry Helm, 27 car, sponsored by Tiger Construction. There's the team car to Austin Camp. It'll be the 96, the Ad Taxi 96 of Tyler Hill. So you got 14 cars, 30 times around. Jesse Jensen clipped off a new track record by like 1,000th of a second or something and won his heat races. Keep your eyes on the 3 from the back of the pack as they'll accelerate their way to the green flag in our first main event for the Tire Pros Street Stocks. The year is underway.
Yeah, and a nice early start here for the 14 of Chase Jones, as we see him just pulling away out of turn number 2. The 85 looks like he's coming up right behind him, though, of Jim Fody, and so Fody's now going to be side by side with the 22 of Kenny Erickson. But nice jump there by Chase Jones, and he's leading the pack at least for now as they come out of turn number 4 down the front stretch. But here comes the 85.
Yeah.
Look at him go, Jim Fody on the inside of turn number 2.
When you leave the door open for the 31-year veteran, he is not going to miss his opportunity. And Watson doing a good job pushing his way through to follow. Erickson gets down to the low groove, so Jones right now strung out in the middle, not where you want to be. As 1, 2, and 3, Fody, Watson, and Erickson, as there goes Watson up racetrack, and He's in danger of getting freight train big time here as the pack gets by him.
Wow, yeah, Kenny Erickson just flew by him. You got to wonder if something's wrong with the 51 of Jeff Watson as you see him go to the high side there down the backstretch into turn number 3. But man, it just looked like Erickson was just moving, and Watson looked like he was stopped almost at that point.
Sure looks like they just threw a mechanical black for him as well out on the racetrack, so Watson will exit stage right. Meanwhile, that's Mike Shimmick. You're taking a look at the black and orange with white trim number 7 car. He works his way by Jones. He's bringing Jensen with him. Shimmick in and behind Roar, looking for a way to move up, and there comes Jensen peeking to the outside. You know, Jesse can put that 3 car wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, and he's going to take to the outside and turn number 3 rather, and looks like he's going to stay there in turn number 4 coming down the front stretch. Going to be just about side by side with Shimmick, but there goes Jensen. Holy smokes, is he fast. Even on that outside, now he's going up to be side by side with the 15 of Brent Rohr, but man, Jesse Jensen, like you said, setting that track record earlier on in the night. Look what he's doing now. He's side by side with Kenny Erickson.
Hey, don't sleep on Potasic either, as Potasic got up to the outside of Shimmick at the same time and has pretty similar car speed as him. He'll get by Shimmick. He'll start working on Roar. Unfortunately, Jensen stretching his legs out, and he's now coming up on Fody with a chance to pass him going into turn 3.
I don't know that I've seen that many consecutive passes on the outside by a car that quickly by the number 3 of Jesse Jensen. He is now around the 85 of Fody as they come out of turn number 2 down the backstretch, and it looks like hopefully somebody will be able to catch up to him, but like you said, maybe it's Steve Potasic, who Potasic just passes by Kenny Erickson in the 22 car down the backstretch.
Took him 7 laps to go from 11th to 1st on Jensen's run, but again, Potasic is fast in and of his own right. Potasic up to 3rd, that brightly colored neon yellow down the left, neon orange down the right car. It's beautiful, love it. You never miss the thing. He is rolling in on Jim Fody for 2nd. Meanwhile, Shimmick doing a good job working to the inside. He's got Roar to the outside at this point, looking to shuffle him back in the running order. So move Shimmick into the top 5, and Austin Camp going to see if he can follow him on through. Somebody punched the window open for him. Best to step through when you get a shot. They're all coming in on Erickson, who's trying to hold him off. Meanwhile, battle for 2nd ahead of him. You saw it just in the corner of your screen. Right up on him. Potasic is working on Fody out of 2.
And there goes Potasic to the high side as they're going to battle down the backstretch. Jim Fody, Steve Potasic as they come into turn number 3. Potasic on the high side as they work their way into turn number 4. Slight advantage, and he's going to have that 2nd spot as we have some trouble down in turn number 3.
That is Brent Rohr slowing up here, so caution flag is out. First main event of the year for the Tire Pro Street Stock on our 70th anniversary season here at Evergreen Speedway, and Roar just going to take a quick right-hand turn. Let's take a look at it. What happened coming out of the corner? I didn't see any contact. He just is going to lift and slow up around the outside of the track. From the in-car view, there he was slowing. And right-hand turn, and off he goes. So Brent Rohr off track. That's going to gather him back up. Double file restart, new this year. All lap cars to the back of the field on all restarts. So anybody who is down a lap is going to the yard. And the first car a lap down gets a Lucky Dog Award.
Hey, that's not a bad thing. I got to tell you, too, as we were watching the heat race earlier, calling that, Steve Potasic, when he came by, you talked about his kind of interesting paint scheme. I called that he was coming down the front stretch, and then as soon as we went in and turned in number 2, I thought maybe I called the wrong car because it looks like a totally different car. But, you know, it's just he's got to keep us on our toes a little bit.
That'll throw you. Well, Potasic looked to have a good jump there. Had to back out of it so that he slowed up at the white line, and I think we're going to do that one all over again. Potasic receiving a warning over the official's radio system, and maybe Jensen too, I'm not sure. Just hey, both you guys, stay even coming to the start, so we'll give this a 2nd try. Our segment here brought to you by Angel of the Winds Casino Resort. They now have sports betting. Think you can pick a winner? Prove it at Angel of the Winds Casino Resort, the only home for sports betting north of Seattle, exit 210 off I-5 in Arlington. Well, if you're betting on this one, the 3 car and the 06 seem to be your lead horses in this guy. Action behind him has been good, but right now it's can Potasic keep Jensen within striking range here for the rest of this main event, as we still got 19 to go.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that being able to see the 06 of Steve Potasic kind of coming through that field along with Jesse Jensen in the 3 car kind of leads you a little bit of hope that there's going to be a really great battle here as we'll see them, Jesse on the inside, Steve on the outside. But it'll be very interesting to see, and if that restart is any indication of just how fast Jesse Jensen's car is, maybe the rest of the field doesn't hold a chance.
Jensen's got a real veteran crew in behind him. The Dirk Cruiswick, Jeff Fillmore, Rob Wilkes' car. They got a veteran spotter up in the grandstands in Greg G, and he definitely knows how to call a race. He's spotted for outrunning IMSA and TA2 stuff all around the country, so you can definitely get a guided driver to victory lane, especially when he's got quite the lead. So we'll see how he guides Jensen through, and we know Jesse's quite the wheelman. We'll see what happens.
Yes, indeed. Here we come down the front stretch. Green flag flies. It looks like that's a great restart here. Steve Potasic, Jesse Jensen look to be just about equal on that restart crossing the start-finish line, and Jensen pulls ahead into that first place spot with the 06 of Steve Potasic sliding into second. Jim Fody in that third spot.
Oh, synchronized street stock spinning coming around to the corner, and Helm in the 27 shoots a tire out into the green grass and maybe off the tire wall. From Jeff Watson's point of view, you can see it beginning, and look out! Watson barely escapes by going down onto the rumble strips. He'll make his way through. Here's from Austin Camp 69, who almost was off racetrack himself and coming back on. Yep, there goes the loop around. Nobody ends up tagging him. Well, we've got more to come. Take a look at this final replay. We will come back more on Home Track Heroes on Seattle 11. The Tire Pro Street Stock main event on track. We'll finish it off next. Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on the Seattle 11. Glad to have you in with us. He's Greg Pilot. I am Caleb Hart. We're going back to the track. Tire Pro Street Stock main event is on Raceway. And, of course, Home Track Heroes brought to you by Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. We're 11 laps in. We've got 19 to go. It's been the Jesse Jensen show. But Steve Potasic looking to play spoiler as we come back to green flag action.
And here, as we come out of turn number 4, it almost looked like Fody was trying to take a look to the low side of Jesse Jensen on that restart, but he backed it off pretty good, and we are green flag racing as Jesse Jensen once again jumps out into the lead with the 06 of Steve Potasic in second. Looks like the 85 of Jim Fody falling off just a little bit. He's taking the 22 of Kenny Erickson with him.
There's quite a pack in behind Fody. Action about to get really intense from 3 on backwards as your top 2 continue to break away. Fody in the 85 car in the 3rd spot. Shimmick 4th in the 7. Erickson now 5th in the 22 with Camp battling it out. Right next to Camp, I think you've got Chase Jones trying to stick up in that mix. And Mike Marthaler is starting to move forward in the white, black, and blue 44.
You know, I was just saying, thinking that we haven't had the 44 Mike Marthaler yet featured, but look, he's looking to the inside here of the 14 of Chase Jones as they come down the backstretch. And Marthaler, obviously a veteran racer out here at Evergreen Speedway, so we'll see what the 44 car can do as we come back down the front stretch once again. 16 laps here to go.
That car has always had speed. It just seems like if you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have luck at all in some form or fashion. There's Marthaler out on the outside. Camp looking to the inside of him as they're both coming up on Jones in the 14 car trying to work their way through. Approaching halfway here in this feature, the Tire Pros Street Stocks, of course, segment sponsored by Tire Pros, the official tire dealer of Evergreen Speedway. Tire Pros, your one-stop tire retailer where honesty is the best policy and they have a hassle-free guarantee. Tire Pros, all the national brands, offers a nationwide warranty on your tires. Go to tirepros.com as these drivers wearing on these tires. They're moving and shaking back there as they continue to battle it out. Camp, Marthaler, and Jones slicing and changing positions around.
Yeah, and Camp just made a great move on the 14 there of Chase Jones and able to move up a spot here, and Mike Marthaler is going to follow his lead. And right behind them, though, is the 03 of Blaine Flagerly. So nice to see him able to kind of come back from the earlier issues he had with the car and come back out to hopefully finish off this race as we take a look once again at the 85 of Jim Fody, and there's the 7 of Mike Shimmick. So Shimmick trying to work his way up in the field.
Less than a car length separating those two. Shimmick piloting the former Ted Lindgren Street Stock here around. He's going to arc the car in a half a groove wider going into the corner. We say opened up his entry a little bit. Let's see if he can make that pay off as looking to close in on the veteran as they roll towards 11 to go. Fody doing a good job of pedaling on the inside groove, and Shimmick doing everything he can. He has closed in turn number 1. Got a run on him coming out of turn number 2. Can he make it count?
And back once again, it looks like the 22 Kenny Erickson able to get around the 69 of Austin Camp. So Camp still holding off the 44 of Mike Marthaler, but that doesn't stop. Looks like the 22 of Erickson able to pass on by, so we'll see if they can hold him off here at the 69 of Camp going to the inside here once again. So now Camp, Erickson side by side as they come down the backstretch. Mike Marthaler just trying to keep pace with these two cars driving down the back.
Marthaler will take the spot if it's opened up to him. He'll get right to the inside of Erickson as Camp gets by. So those two continue to march their way up and through, almost paired together at this point in time, as working their way into the top 5. Meanwhile, Shimmick again trying to go just a half a groove higher than Fody, as you see Jensen and Potasic streak way away from the field. And I don't know, Potasic was slowing before he got down underneath the white there, but Potasic did look off the pace for a second.
He definitely did, yeah. It almost looked like he was slowing and then kind of went into those ruts on the low side, and here he is pulling off into the infield. So really unfortunate there for the 06 Steve Potasic. He was running in second. He was keeping pace with Jesse Jensen in the 3 car, and now it's up to Jim Fody in the 85 and the 7 of Mike Shimmick to be able to catch up to that 3 car.
That makes the battle, which was for third, now for second on your screen between Fody and Shimmick. They've both got a podium if they can get there. Down to 6 to go. Fody, big power, just trying to harness it. Shimmick trying to handle his way around, and now here comes Camp and Marthaler. 4 cars siestaing for 2 spots on the podium.
And you just mentioned it earlier, how exciting it was going to be a little bit beyond, first place and second and all the way through 4th or 5th. And right now it certainly is. You have the 69 of Camp battling right now with Mike Marthaler side by side as they come down the front stretch into turn number 1. But Shimmick still holding off into that 3rd spot. Fody holding off into 2nd. But man, what a great battle for that 5th spot right now.
Marthaler starting to get ahead of steam kind of around the middle. Only thing that held him up, the back end twitched on Shimmick coming through the middle of the corner. He might have had to either wait a little bit longer to get back to the throttle or burp the throttle coming through the turn, and that allows Camp back to the inside of him for 4th. Camp looking underneath Shimmick for 3rd. Both of them trying to figure out what they can do with the 7 car, who's still desperately trying to keep up with Fody here in the late stages.
And it certainly looks to me, at least, that the 69 Austin Camp has a little bit more speed down the back stretch and front stretch. And Marthaler was just hanging on as we take a look once again to the 51 of Watson as he comes down. But, we see now Mike Marthaler back behind Austin Camp in the 69, but the Jet just had that slight advantage. But you got to wonder what Shimmick is going to do to hold off the 69 here as they come into turn number 1.
Put the 72 car down a lap. That's Thornborough as we're coming to the white flag. Jesse Jensen out front all by himself, and uh-oh, not so fast, my friend. That means caution's coming out, and that means complete field bunch and restart time as you look at the 03 of Fagerly.
Yeah, just gets spun out there in turn number 1. Didn't look like there was any contact whatsoever for the 03, but unfortunate there to see him spinning out. And like you said, Jesse Jensen's not too happy about that caution.
No, last thing you want to see after you've taken the white flag as leader or coming to the white flag as the leader is a car going around. So now 2 by 2 they're going to stack up. It'll be green-white checkered style. Now within 10 to go, no Lucky Dog. Lucky Dog is kicked out. All the lap cars, though, are at the back. That way leaders can race for position amongst them. And here on the start, Jim Fody pedaling. He actually had a nose on Jensen coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, what a great start there by Jim Fody, but very quickly out of turn number 2, you see the 3 of Jesse Jensen. And look at the buildup here as Fody gets a little bit loose, and that affects the 69 of Camp and the 14 of Chase Jones.
The outside lane got hung up. Inside lane moves forward as Shimmick up into 2nd. That puts Marthaler in 3rd. What a run that's going to end up being for those two. Shimmick looking for his career best finish, and Marthaler pulling a 3rd place out after digging hard. This one's going to be Jesse Jensen getting the victory, followed by Shimmick and Marthaler. Fun finish here in the Tire Pros Street Stocks. And down to the podium, we will go the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort podium. What a race it was from about 2nd, 3rd on back, and the guy who claims the final spot on the podium is Mike Marthaler tonight. Mike, chaotic back there. You ran your butt off. How did you end up in 3rd on this one?
A lot of luck, I'll tell you that. That car was junk all night.
Okay, so what'd you do to make it better?
Well, a lot of adversity. I thought for sure I was getting hit in the quarter panel there by Fody on the last lap going into 3. He started getting sideways, and I just kept it floored and drove it in a little deeper, and he didn't get me, thank God.
Rewarding for that to start the day out so bad and to end up here with a really good performance, some points going forward, and a trophy to the end of the night. That's a way to reward the crew and sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys worked their butt off all offseason. We put a new nose on it, and of course I ripped it off I'm going to need the guys at Joe's Racing Products to help me out a little bit, I think.
I know those guys. They're all right.
Yeah, they are. They help out a lot.
Well, congratulations, man. Way to open your year up.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Direct Up Carpet Cleaning, Finish Line Heating and Air Conditioning, Fleet Service Auto and Truck, Red Strand Salon, my wife, Kelsey Marthaler. If you ever need to get your hair done, she's the one that pays to get the wrap done on this car, and it's beautiful.
And it ended up beautiful at the end of the night. Mike Marthaler, third tonight. Congratulations. Mike Shimmick, welcome to the big stage, man. Congratulations. It's kind of ovation you like to hear, right?
Definitely. First of all, I want to thank all the fans for coming out, watching us. We can't do it without you guys. Secondly, I want to thank Big Block Brewing, main sponsor on the car. Next, I want to thank my two daughters here who got me started. They race over at the little track. Big thanks to my wife for letting me come out and do this, and it's unbelievable. I can't believe it, man. It opened up for me, and I was there at the end.
Let's go back. Let's flash back for a second to that last restart. Fody on the outside of Jesse, and he went, and oh boy did he win. What did you think at that point in time? Did you think the opportunity would be there?
I thought to follow the number 3 car.
Good call. You end up in the runner-up spot, and I mean, very rewarding for all the time you spent into this to be here.
Yes, just want to say thanks again to everybody and really appreciate you guys coming out.
There he is, runner-up Mike Shimmick. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner in dominant fashion, Jesse Jensen. Will you do me a favor and just enter that car in the Pro Late model? You're that fast?
I'd love it. If they let me take a couple 100 pounds out, I'll get it right now.
You were so quick. It took you 7 laps to get to the front, and as usual, as is with this Will Cruzmore car, it can go in any lane it needs to.
Yeah, they work hard on it, and it shows. That thing was really good tonight. I wish, I don't know what happened to the 06. Steve is one of my best buddies. Ever since they built that car, I've been telling him, man, I can't wait for me and you to be able to race for a win. And he was right with me as far as I knew. And then they said he broke, which is a real bummer. But, yeah, our car was good tonight. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun coming to the front. These guys race hard, so it's always a good time.
I'm sure you didn't want to see a caution flag after you had taken the white flag. And then Jim, 31-year veteran, really pulled a good start on you going into turn number 1. What were you thinking?
That thing's got some smoke underneath the hood, man. He's got to tow an extra 100 pounds and run that big 400, man, but times like that, it really shows. So anytime I'm next to, beside, anywhere near Jim Fody, I got a smile on my face because that guy's been doing this stuff for probably longer than anybody out here. He gives it his all every weekend. He can barely walk to his car some days in so much pain, but he still gets in, gets it done, races off, and I just love to see it.
What a great win for you and this Tire Pro sponsor team. Do you need to say thank you to anybody?
Yeah, the Tire Pros group, Ryan Berg, just everybody that helps out, Dirk, obviously, all my guys, tires, oh man, I'm terrible at this. The shop in Arlington, man, now I'm drawing blank. Help me out here. Joe's Racing Products, always there. Seattle Auto Works, and just all my guys. It's just a lot of fun with these guys that I get to hang out with every weekend. I'm pretty blessed.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Jesse Jensen takes the checkered flag. You get the trophy and the picture. He is your winner tonight in the Tire Pro Street Stocks.
So glad you guys are spending your Sunday night with us here. Home Track Heroes here on Seattle 11, the kickoff to season number 5 here on the show. And a gigantic thank you to our new presenting sponsor, Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. He's Greg Pyland. I'm Caleb Hart. And these are the PRCBD Hornets on the road course for 30 laps. Bobby Houck on the pole in the 08, sponsored by Snow Valley Farms. Donna Gillespie next to him in the 024.
Row number 2, it's going to be the 69 of Patrick Russell. On the outside is the 59, the Shark Tegan Bjornsson, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports.
Row number 3, the Urban Renovation, number 13 of Brad Fairs. Next to him, Tammy White, car number 23.
Row number 4 is the 19 of Scarlett Fisher. On the outside, the 029 of Joseph Villarreal.
5th row, Pat Folger, the Olympia Pizza, number 30. And Gino Solomon, the 17S, sponsored by Valley Asphalt.
Dustin Little is in the 21L, and on the outside, the 022 of Michael Turner.
All the way back in row number 7, you saw Lucas Hausenfluck earlier in Stinger 8 action. He's in this one in the Edwards K&S Construction 03. Matt Snyder next to him, handy in the Valley, number 15.
Caleb, you talked about him earlier. Riley Riddell in the 20 car, sponsored by DL Enterprises. On the outside, the 33 of Ryan Hassenfluck, sponsored by Cornerstone Homes.
And behind them, Dan Miller, the 00 exterior wall systems, Diesel Snyder in the 717.
And then we have row number 10, the G2 of Brad Gruhl, sponsored by Granite Falls Community Chiropractic. On the outside, the 1 of Zach Bristol, brought to you by Hibbs Automotive.
And then you got a couple of move-ups from the B feature. Christian Miller in the 77, sponsored by Turbo Espresso. And Dempsey Graham in car number 42 as the field begins to pick up the pace. It is a big field of cars. By my unofficial count, 22 of them starting this A feature for 30 times around. Full invert, fast guys at the back, your defending champion, Zach Bristol, qualified quick today. Well, guess what? You got to pass 19 other guys to get this win.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about this division, the PRCBD Hornet mains. It's the track seems to change on a regular basis, which I think for a fan coming out and watching this, it's so much fun because there's going to be different strategy. There's a different track altogether on different race nights, and so it's a lot of fun to kind of come out and see the variation that happens with this Hornet division.
Well, look out. We've got chaos already as cars going all over the place. Our black and green car of the 029 facing the wrong direction. All right, we're back. We're good to go. Bobby Hawk's got the early lead. Donna Gillespie 2. Brett Ferris in the 3rd spot. That's the 13 car you see in your screen right now with Tegan Bjornsson, the Sharkmobile, trying to run him down. But I promise you, folks, you look back in the field, they're going to be 3 wide all over the place trying to come through this deal.
They most certainly are. Like you said, Bobby Houck in the 08 out in the lead with Donna Gillespie. But look at that build-up right there, right into that turn, heading towards turn number 2 in the backstretch. Right in the middle, we see the 30 of Folger as they come down the backstretch. But, man, it's just so much fun to see all of these cars as they come into some of those hairpin turns to be able to just try and navigate their way without getting into some sort of crash.
Yeah, and that's a huge portion of this race course in particular is the weight change portion of it. It happens right about the intersection of the figure 8 where the drivers have to make a very subtle right-hand, a big left-hand turn coming off the corner, a subtle right, and then a hairpin left. And typically your fastest cars on this racetrack are the ones who transfer their momentum the best through that portion of the course.
Yeah, and it's always, I think, coming and making that final turn here as we look once again to Bobby Houck in the 024 of Donna Gillespie as they make this hard left-hand turn. But, you know, it's such a variation. And, so there's some issues there for Bobby Houck as Houck goes very wide. Donna Gillespie in the 024, now your race leader with Patrick Russell in the 69 car in second. But unfortunate there for the 08 of Bobby Houck.
Back in the field, that's Gruhl in the white and green car, and you saw Bristol, who were already starting to carve this up. Gruhl was 15th, Bristol even further than him, and we're going to get a caution flag coming out as taking a look, the 08 of Hawk is going to be stopped, and let's get a second look at it as they come on through and off and just done broke. Oops.
Yeah, it didn't even look like there was any contact between Hawk and the 024 of Donna Gillespie. It just looks like unfortunate timing there as he kind of pulls off to the side. So really a shame for the 08 early on.
Random mechanical failure does happen here in the PRCBD Hornet division. That's going to bunch the field back up. And, of course, our segment brought to you by PRCBD. Swing in to PRCBD in Arlington for all your CBD questions and needs, people, pets, and more. Go to PRCBD.com and use the promo code RACE. It says race with an exclamation point, but I think just race will do the trick.
The explanation point is just for you to be able to really give it that extra.
That's right. So we're back to green flag action. That's Gillespie in the 024. Patrick Russell looking to take over the lead, but Gillespie, good move to the inside track, and Donna will have the lead going down the back straightaway as they are 2 and 3 wide coming all through that hairpin.
Yeah, and you see the Shark Tegan Bjornsson on that high side. Unfortunately, I think he's one of the cars that is a little bit further back, but just in that 5th place spot right now. So trying to make some moves as the Shark, the 59 of Tegan Bjornsson, as we go back to your race leader, the 024 of Donna Gillespie. Now 25 laps to go with, looks like they're saying right now officially scoring that maybe Tegan Bjornsson is in that 2nd spot, but it looks like it's actually going to be the 69 of Patrick Russell.
Sometimes the computer can't be trusted because there is the 19 of Scarlett Fisher trying to weave her way forward. You'll notice there's no 81 of Bobby Fisher. You know why that is? We'll see him on next week's Home Track Heroes in his mini stock debut.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
The Hornets are intended to be a division that you graduate up out of at some point in time, put together a mini stock, a street stock, something like that. As Fun class. A lot of guys have had a long, good career in it, but we want them to move up and try their wares at other stuff. There's one of the other veterans in the division, Gino Solomon, now a top 3 car, running out of the Snyder camp is Gino. And he's looking inside. Patrick Russell trying to make a move for second here as they work their way through the weight transfer portion.
Yeah, and a lot of cars as we saw coming through there. You talked about it earlier on, and we see so many opportunities for 3 wides, and even coming through the intersection across the start-finish line, we saw a lot of 3 wide as Gino Solomon in the 17S trying to make a move there on the 69 of Patrick Russell. Goes to the inside, and at least for the time being, looks like he might have the advantage for that second spot as we see the 33 car, and that is going to be Ryan Hasselfleck going just a little bit wide, but able to rein it back in as he's kind of working his way up the field as well.
As he's bringing Dan Miller in the 00 with him, who also started deep on that pack. So up front, it's Solomon who has cleared second, and now Gino making his bid for the lead. Gillespie directly ahead of him as we complete lap number 9:21 to go. Quick look back, 13 car of Brad Fairs under a whole lot of pressure from the combination of the 69 of Russell and the 33 of Hausenfluck. And Hausenfluck might be the man on the biggest move at this point other than Bristol. Boy, he's right up there knocking on the door of a podium finish himself.
Yeah, Hausenfluck just kind of dodging and weaving his way through this field right now as we go in car here once again to the 20 of Riley Riddell. And there's the 19 car. That's going to be Fisher, Scarlett Fisher, kind of rolling through this pack. But yeah, Hausenfluck making some big time moves there, trying to get to the front of that field.
Ooh, contact coming through the hairpin as that looked like Bristol taking a spot over from Russell. As you look, there is action no matter where you have your eyeballs here on Evergreen Speedway in our 70th anniversary season. Taking a look for the corner, 2 by 2 by 2, marching like ants in a row as they go. And it's going to be a Fisher sandwich for a second. Coming off the turn is Gruel trying to sneak his way by.
Snyder there in the 15 car getting a little bit loose. He's right behind the 69 of Patrick Russell as we have some issues there. And it's going to be Riley Riddell. We were just watching him in car, and really unfortunate there to see his car get turned sideways there, just trying to go into that hairpin turn.
Tried to fit 3 cars through 2 slots and unfortunately could not do it. He'll get her turned back around. Now he's going to have to scramble. That's your race leader, Gino Solomon, trying to put him a lap down. So lap down goes Riddell. Now if he gets a caution before he can get back around Solomon, he will get a lucky dog award, which will put him back on the lead lap and at the tail of the pack. But nobody else can get lapped in that time frame. And again, that caution's got to come within the next 7 circuits, else the lucky dog rule goes out the door.
Yeah, and you kind of love to see that kind of change in some of the rules too. Is what an opportunity for Riley Riddell, and he's trying to battle as we see the 33 of Ryan Hasselfluck now side by side with Donna Gillespie in the 024 battling for second, and Hasselfluck is going to move up into that second spot, and it looks like we also have somebody else here challenging the 024. I can't see which car that is.
Dan Miller's 00, and bringing Zach Bristol in with him in the 1 car. As Miller going to make the pass, Bristol also coming through. You remember that starting order. Bristol starts 20th. He should be 4th now. Miller was deep in the field as well, up and into 3rd. So fast guys have made their way forward on this field, and now will be battling with each other for a podium spot.
Yeah, Dan Miller definitely knows this course and all of the courses that the Hornet division runs, as does Zach Bristol. And it'll be fun to watch the 1 and the 00 here battle back and forth between Bristol and Miller as they come down the backstretch. Now Bristol falling back, maybe just a little bit of Dan Miller in the 00, but plenty of time still here left with 15 laps to go.
Miller got his first feature win towards the tail end of 2023. In fact, I believe the last race of 2023 is when Dan picked that up at our Road X program, and then came in the offseason and won one of the Enduros. So technically he's on a win streak at this point. Bristol, your defending track champion in the Hornet division, as they make their way through. It is Solomon as the lap car of Rudell, who again needs a caution within the next 4 laps to get the lucky dog. Second place, Hausenfluck in the number 33, and they are in traffic. Rudell cannot afford to have Solomon pass any more cars, although he's got a little ways in front of him before that happens. As there is Miller and Bristol, they are 3rd and 4th, 00 in the 1 car, racing all over your top 5, trying to pick up spots.
And a lot of grit there in that 20 car of Riley Riddell as we see just going to the inside, that's going to be Ryan Hassenfluck in the 33 that's passing by the 20 car. But man, he certainly is, like you said, trying to hold up there and get that lap back. He's just going, I think, a little bit too fast out of that hairpin turn, and then he's going awful wide. The other cars, maybe some of the more veteran drivers, are kind of slowing down just enough to be able to take off going down towards the backstretch. But, you know, good on him for the 20 car, just trying to stick with this top 1-2 of Gino Solomon and Ryan Hassenfluck.
Showed that he has the speed to stick with the leaders there for a little bit. Now it's Hassenfluck trying to work his way around Solomon, and again, time getting awfully short for Riley, although, hey, look at that. Might have spoken into existence as around goes the 029 of Joseph Villarreal. And there's the caution Riddell asks for. He'll be your lucky dog and go to the back of the pack. And let's get a look at our replays to see exactly what happened.
So looking there, the G2 of Brad Gruhl, it looks like just going into that tire. Oof, unfortunate there.
From Dustin Little's point of view, misses the car hanging out in the intersection, no big deal. And it was Snyder's 15 who might have over-applied the chrome horn. Might have. You never know. You never know what's happening in the seat of the cockpit. So, with just over 10 laps to go, 11 laps to go, caution flag, 2x2, lap cars to the back. Riddell gets the lucky dog, and that is going to vastly shrink the gap that first and second had on third and fourth in Bristol and Miller. They're going to start right behind your top two now.
You know, that's what I was just thinking too, Caleb, is, you know, Gino Solomon was kind of out there running. He started to come up on some of those lapped cars or cars that were going to be lap cars, and now Gino Solomon's going to have right behind him, he's going to have the 00, or yeah, it looks like it's going to be the one of Zach Bristol right behind him, Ryan Hassenfluck on the outside, and then the 00 of Dan Miller. So a lot of cars with a lot of experience right behind Gino Solomon, as we see Ryan Hassenfluck now battling back and forth with the one of Zach Bristol.
The previous two track champions going door panel to door panel there in turn number 3. Bristol coming out, looking to defend his title. Great way to do it would be with a win on night number 1, but he is in a dogfight for position 2. Ryan Hassenfluck coming out of the second corner, still wheel to wheel. Ryan with the advantage off the top side as they roll down the back straightaway.
Yeah, what a great continued battle here as we see Dan Miller in the 00 just coming into frame now as we come into what I'll call turn 3 and 4. It's probably not that on this road course, but Gino Solomon now going to come across the start-finish line. Now we have 9 laps remaining here for the 17S of Gino Solomon as they continue to be side by side. That time Zach Bristol to the inside of Ryan Hassenfluck on that hairpin turn there. He has the slight advantage as they head down the backstretch, and Dan Miller hoping to come up here where he's going to get that 00 under the 33 car, but Hassenfluck just doing a great job there, going awful wide. We'll see if he's going to be able to hold speed as they come across the start-finish line here once again.
And what's going to hurt Ryan is the fact that Solomon pushed wide in that corner and opened the door up for Bristol. Bristol gets to kind of use that as a pick on Hassenfluck and moves to the inside, taking the spot away from Solomon. New race leader from 20th to 1st, Zach Bristol, in just 22 laps. Just
so impressive. And you just talked about it. It's one of those things where Dan Miller able to take advantage. Now Miller into that 3rd spot, at least for the time being, right behind the 17S of Gino Solomon, as now Miller is going to be battling with the 33 of Hassenfluck as they come out of that hairpin turn towards the backstretch. And it looks like the 77 Christian Miller now in the mix as well. So you got a couple of Millers right side by side nearly with the 33 of Ryan Hassenfluck.
And that's from 21st. That's from the B main Christian Miller. And don't look now, but I think in 6th is Lucas Hassenfluck. So it's a Miller and Hassenfluck family reunion as they battle up at the top 6 of this one. Although Lucas might be a little bit further back, but that is him in the 6th position right now.
Yeah, just a family affair here in that 3rd through 6th spot. It's a lot of fun to watch as we see Dan Miller edging out the 33 of Ryan Hassenfluck, but we saw earlier on Hassenfluck going to take that wide lane coming out of turn number 4 and across the start-finish line. So still side by side and still battling for that 3rd spot right now. Issues.
All right, Miller into Hassenfluck, almost clips the kid on the way by, but Christian's going to get by. No blood, no foul. Ryan's going to have to scramble now as Dustin Little gets by in the 21L car. So Ryan Hassenfluck with that incident in the intersection would skitter it up the racetrack, lost about 4 positions, and that's going to give Gino Solomon some breathing room and puts 3rd place Christian Miller a ways back from them, with Daddy Dan now trying to get by his little baby boy to get back into the podium run.
Yeah, you think Christian's not going to be motivated whatsoever, right, to keep that 0-0 behind him. I think he's going to be happy to see him come up and challenge him, I would imagine. But, you know, at that same time, Zach Bristol starting to build his lead pretty substantially over the 17S of Gino Solomon. So we'll see if Gino can keep things interesting here as we have 3 laps to go, as it's Miller time back in 3rd and 4th spot.
I just want to remind Dan, and he can't hear us up in the announce booth right now, but Dan, if you get close enough, punt him. Move him right out of the way. Remember, you've bought parts for that race car too. You may as well junk him to get by for 3rd.
You know,
it'll be fun.
If Dan had a radio and he was talking right now to Christian, I think he would probably be saying, if you want a paint job for that car, you're going to just move on to the side and let me roll on by.
You don't like the retro Acura look? the late 80s, early 90s retro Acura scheme? I mean, it works. It works,
you know, there's any Integra in my mind is a good Integra.
There you go. There's your race leader from 20th, Zach Bristol taking the white flag. 1 to go. Gino Solomon running in 2nd and not in significant danger at the moment. We're watching the family duel in 3rd and 4th with Lucas Hausenfluck in 5th, just close enough that if he's feeling antsy, he might have a run at the back of Dan here at the very end. See if he can avenge his dad coming on and through, but that's going to do it. And Zach Bristol going to get the win in the PRC BD Hornets. 2nd to Solomon. Christian Miller, B main to 3rd. Nice run, Christian. Let's go down trackside winners interviews on the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort podium with Derek T.
From the B main to the A main, welcoming up the 77 driver, Christian Miller. Wow, you put on a show there, running great throughout the B main. Lost 1st, but finished 2nd. Suddenly, you find yourself in 5th. Chaos happens in front of you. What happens next?
I ended up in 3rd. No, when Brian and my dad got together, I was a little upset for my dad, but I was way more happy for myself. I've never been so happy about 3rd. I was in the shop till 3 o'clock last night working on the car. It's been giving me trouble all day up until the start of this race. So it's just insane that I even pulled this off. I can't believe it.
Now, you said you felt a little bad for your dad. Not bad enough to let him buy you. Walk us through that battle there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have enough time to put all my mirrors in, so I couldn't see that he was back there. So I didn't know exactly where he was, so I was just putting my car in a spot that he would have to go around the outside. There's no way he's getting underneath me.
That's a brand new car. Who helped put that together?
Oh, man, I can't thank my buddy Damon Claiborne, Steven Dodson, you know, Zach Bristol, my whole Hornets Nest crew, my dad. There's just too many people to thank on this one. It would not be the car that it is with the problems and without today, without all that help. Also a big thank you to Turbo Espresso, Rick's Mobile AC, Fast Eddie's Tire Pros, and Exterior Wall Systems.
3rd place tonight, that's Christian Miller. Gino, you're another driver with family out there on the track. What is it like being out there racing with people you know that closely?
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of competition, you know, to try to stay in front of, especially the one little one there, Diesel. So, and then I got my son Matt Snyder that's behind me too. So it's a challenge to stay in front of them. So.
Now, of course, you had that great battle at the start, got up front. Walk us through what happens when you see someone like Zach Bristol in the mirror.
Well, you know Zach, he's been a track champion here, and he's fast, and you just pray that you don't make a mistake, you know, and try to fend him off, and he's gonna come. He's gonna come no matter what. So it's tough. It's tough to keep him behind you. So.
Family teams take resources. Who helps you get out here every week?
Well, I want to thank Valley Asphalt, Handy in the Valley, Hair Inc., let's see here, Snow Falls Credit Union, North Bend Chevrolet, and the bus drivers, and who else am I forgetting? Snow Falls Credit Union, so, yeah.
Driver the number 17S, Gino Solomon, 2nd place tonight. All right, Zach. Brought that number 1 car out here, renumbered after the championship. How does it feel bringing it to victory lane?
Flippin' sweet, man. This is just a reward for hard hard off season, whatnot, trying to. I mean, I want to try and back up the championship before I move on to a little higher class, but no, just all the hard work, time, effort that the team put into that car, and wicked fast, like faster than last year, strangely. So no, I'm very happy about it.
You find yourself up here fairly often. What is the secret to consistently doing so well in the Hornet class?
Experience. This is my 16th year doing this, whatnot, and just having fun with it. Also, Hornet guys are still trying to figure out the Hornet rule, or the tire rule. And with my mini stock experience, I just kind of hang out, let the tires cool off, and don't burn them to the ground like a lot of the other A-main guys do during the race.
You put on a show time and time again. Who helps you do that?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say this every time I'm up here. The season's dedicated to my brother, Beaners. He's watching over at us. He has a 1, but if you see Junior, that's my brother there. Tommy and Candy Hibbs, I would not be racing without them. Work schedule's pretty busy, keep me away from the car, and they get the car ready for me every week. Hibbs Automotive, Bennett Design Construction, Gourmet Latte, Townsend Peterson LLC, Hornet Nest Racing, all those guys. My lovely girlfriend, Sarah. I will say that every race now. And yeah, let's try and go 2 for 2 next week.
Behind the wheel of the number 1, that's Zach Bristol, race winner in the PRCBD Hornet A-Main.
Welcome back, Home Track Heroes here on Seattle 11. I am Caleb Hart. He is Greg Pyland, having a bunch of fun here at the kickoff to season number 5 of the show. Couldn't do it without Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, our new presenting sponsor. A big thank you to them. As we get ready, it is time for the Buzz In Stinger 8s 30 times around our figure 8 course, easy for me to say. And here is a look at the lineup, as it's going to be Jacob Funk and Cody Weldon. Row number 1, Weldon's 151, sponsored by All Ply Roofing, LLC.
Row number 2, the 03 of Lucas Hassenfluck, sponsored by Edward K&S Construction. On the outside, the 16X of Bill Bleen.
Row number 3, the B&R Drywall 102 of Randy Moffitt, and the 53 of Tyler York.
And row number 4, the 20 of Ryler Riddell, sponsored by DL Enterprises. And the outside is the 21 of Matt Somerville, sponsored by Airport Welding and Muffler.
5th row is the Zach Bristol sponsored 13. Tyler Draper is the driver. Next to him, Mike Hathaway, the rep in welding, and rail number 46.
Row number 6, the 16 of Peyton Hopp, sponsored by Papas and Monroe. On the outside, the 195 of Devin Jenkins, sponsored by PNW Traffic Control.
And more Jenkins action in the final row. Resch Printing sponsors the 85 of Hunter Jenkins. Bryce Kolar starts dead last, the Nat Construction number 23. 14 cars, 30 times around. Let's figure 8 for the Stingers as the green is out.
And we see Jacob Funk getting off to a nice start, but now he's kind of falling back here as it looks like he went very wide, and that was the 151 of Cody Weldon kind of making his way up. As we take a look here once again, the 16 car looks like he's having some headway as well of Peyton Hopp, but he's a little bit further back in the field as we look back up, and looks like is that the 16X of Bill Bleem out in front of the 151.
Yes, indeed. Bleem having a good start to his main event, the 16X. Weldon's 151, Funk's 8 car going wheel to wheel as they get in the corner. Weldon took the scenic route trying to get through the turn. That's going to cost him. There goes Moffitt picking up a spot. Riddell, as they're 3 wide trying to get through, and Jenkins trying to follow.
Look how fun that is. Ryler Riddell right in the middle of the 151 and the 195 of Devin Jenkins, and it looks like a lot of contact there with Ryler Riddell and the 46 of Mike Hathaway.
Oh, around we go, and Riddell ends up getting the worst of it. There at the tail end, Jenkins at the 85 will stop, caution flag out, and first look at the Brandy Hood GoPro look, and wow, Hathaway got some airtime in the 46 as he came through.
Yeah, look at that. Mike Hathaway going up almost on the top, and we see kind of the damage to Ryler Riddell's, the front of his hood there, and what a stop there by the 85 of Hunter Jenkins.
All right, there's Hathaway. Yeehaw. As the Stinger cars are not meant to look like they're running the road course or an autocross action. Somerville got up and in the air as well in the 10 car. So through they go. And here's one more look from the top cam as he tried to fit about 5 race cars in one spot.
You know, he might have been able to jump one car, Mike Hathaway, there. He might have had enough oomph to be able to jump one car, I think.
You know, given all things we have seen out of the Stinger 8 divisions, jumping a car, it'll happen one of these days. So caution flag came out. We'll come back to action. This segment, of course, and the entire show here on Home Track Heroes, brought to you by Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, the name you can trust since 1976 for quality service and peace of mind. Visit them today, GeneJohnsonServices.com. As they say, we're on it.
And as we restart here once again, green flag racing, the 16X of Bill Bleem holding off the 102 Randy Moffat. Randy Moffat, really great start there as he's now right behind the 16X as you see the 8 of Jacob Funk in that third spot sitting currently, but Moffat making some good hard charges there off of that restart.
Right now, all over the back of Bleem. Meanwhile, behind him, Tyler Draper's 13 has wiggled his way to the inside of Funk, and there is from 14th to 5th already, Bryce Kolar moving his way through. Good movement early from him.
Very good movement there by Bryce Kolar in the 23s. We see him right behind the 13 of Tyler Draper, and here's trying to make some moves here is the 16X of Bill Bleem as he's trying to hold off that 102 of Randy Moffat, doing a good job thus far, but 102 still knocking on the door with the 13 of Tyler Draper now in that third spot.
The rest of the pack starting to close in. Here's the problem. They are single filing out in places. That means intersection is just a matter of time from getting interesting. Is Moffat going to lose a couple of spots? Draper by him and the 23 of Kolar right there as well.
Wouldn't have been no reason to lift right at that point, so yeah, it just looked like he started to slow down, just kind of went to the outside, and a little bit of bump in there from the 23 and the 13. That's Tyler Draper, and the 23 is Bryce Kolar. But yeah, unfortunate there for the 102 of Randy Moffat to kind of have to slow down a little bit.
If this is your first time watching Home Track Heroes or even seeing the figure 8s at Evergreen Speedway, a little bit of bumping is anticipated here in this division, and especially right as they start the corner and start to slow down, you'll see them give a little shot in the shorts here or there. Draper did it to Bleem and got his own car too upset. There goes Kolar by. They got the big old cow catcher front bumpers and rear bumper covers on those cars. There you can see there's the tap from Kolar. It's just enough to get Bleem squirrely. And coming through the turn, Kolar going to be your new leader as intersection traffic is picking up big time.
Yeah, what a great move there by the 23 of Kolar. But, you know, as you're talking about a little bit of bumping, I always thought that that's because they just wanted to save their brakes for the long season, right? You know, if you don't have to step on the brakes and you can just run into somebody else, well, then you don't have to buy brake pads or anything like that, right? You're good to go.
Hey, brake fluid's getting expensive too. Inflation hits everybody. As Bleem lost a couple of spots, Draper made his way by, and then Draper overcooks it. Bleem gonna get through him. Around they go, and Peyton Hopp almost, nope, 2 more cars into him. Jenkins in the 195, and was that Rudell also picking that up? We're about to find out, as there goes Hopp by. Here's from Hathaway's point of view into Hopp. Oh, no, it was Hathaway who ends up nudging into Draper in the 13 car. So Draper was second to the back.
Yeah, just a nice, fun build-up. But that's why we love this division, right? That's why we love the Stinger 8s. There's so much action happening here as we take a look here as we're just a few laps in, but a lot of fun so far early on in this race.
There's a lot happening, and we still haven't even really got the intersection up and going yet. It started to, but not quite there yet. 8 laps in, and that is going to negate the pass for the lead by Kolar. As we go back to the last lap that everybody made it past the transponder loop. So Bill Bleem going to get back to the top spot. Now Moffat and Kolar side by side in our Delaware-style restart as we're back to action now. It didn't take Kolar a ton to get around Bleem last time. Let's see if Bleem, I don't know, stands on the brakes a little bit more, tries to keep the car a little more straight at corner entry, and forces Kolar around a different path. Bleem hangs on to it for another lap. Kolar, let's see how he attacks him, coming up in the right-hand turn or the south pole over figure 8 course.
You know, and it's one of those things, like you said, we were starting to see a lot of intersection action, and, you know, this stacks everybody back up, so they're going to be able to get maybe another 3 or 4 laps in before we start to see some kind of interaction at the intersection. But right now, Bleem doing a great job holding off the 23 Kolar, but here comes Moffat in the 102. Moffat trying to make a move there out of the South Pole, and not enough juice to be able to get by the 23 car, but still single file for your first, second, and third.
There's that tap again from the front bumper to the rear bumper. Watch Kolar as he gets in the corner, and there it is, just that little bit of a nudge right in the braking zone. So go back to the up top shot. Bleem pushes wide off the corner. He's going to have to adjust getting into the right-hand turns once again. Hold off Kolar for now with Moffat in the 102 trying to find a way to get by him.
Yeah, Moffat doing a great job here. It looks like trying to come back up on the 23 car of Bryce Kolar. We have the 03 of Lucas Hassenflug, who's currently sitting in that 4th spot, the 16 of Peyton Hopp sitting in 5th. But the battle right now with a little bit more bumping between the 16X of Bleem and the 23 car Bryce Kolar.
And it slowed up Kolar to the point he's right on Bleem's back, but there's Moffitt right on his, and this time just a little bit of an extra applicable shove into the turn. Bye-bye, Bryce Kolar, new leader, and Moffitt going to try to follow him through for second. He's got it.
And he does that indeed, and Bleem, unfortunately for the 16X, after that nudge just gets a little bit wide. That allows Moffitt to pass on by, and Lucas Hassenfluck in the 03 unable to capitalize as the 16X was a little bit wide. Peyton Hopp going to be trying to push the 03 through this intersection here area, but we'll see what Peyton Hopp is able to do. But I think that was a nice recovery overall by the 16X of Bill Bleem to go from that outside lane and tuck back in, not allowing the 03 to pass on by.
Kind of a test of your skills, your mental fortitude as you're in the car. Oh, I'm getting hit all over the place. Oh, I lost a spot. Oh, I lost a spot, to gather it back together so quickly and start making good laps again. So credit to Bleem as he has really settled down in third and actually had a shot there rolling in the corner on Moffitt, who's going to cut that corner something serious. And you can see they are starting to get hot and heavy in the intersection. Moffitt checks up, Bleem back by him for second.
What a great move there by the 16X of Bill Bleem to be able to pass by Randy Moffitt, like you said, right in that intersection as we saw Moffitt starting to slow, and there's Hathaway coming through, just sneaks in front of the 16 of Peyton Hopp. But a lot of fun, and this is why I think so many people love this kind of racing, is you're always bound to see some sort of action here.
Now Moffitt and Hassenfluck together. You do not want to be side by side in the intersection. That's where bad things happen. Moffitt trying to hang on. He's got him for now. Lucas in that middle spot. Hathaway threads the needle in behind him as Hopp just barely sneaks by, and there goes Hassenfluck working for third.
Yeah, and Moffitt has to go wide here as the 16 of Peyton Hopp, but Hathaway going to be coming through once again, but luckily for the 16 of Peyton Hopp and the 102 of Moffitt, Hathaway was just a little bit further back, but now the 102 able to get back around the 16 of Peyton Hopp.
There's the 151 of Weldon trying to get to the inside of Hathaway as they battle back further in the field, but that's again right in the intersection, and that's the most dangerous place to be side by side. You don't want that sleeper car causing the trouble, as it is really sketchy coming through. And this is why your leader is never safe in figure eight racing, whether it's lap traffic in front or traffic coming from the left or the right in the intersection. You are always at risk.
Yeah, and it's always tough too, because you could have, like right here we see Bryce Kolar passing by. That's the 23 car passing by, trying to get around the 151 of Cody Weldon. But you know, in that situation, like you said, he was side by side, but also too, if you have the car that you're passing is on the inside and you kind of try and go around the outside, you could be losing all of that visual of those cars that are coming up towards the intersection. Definitely does get dangerous, and so right now the 23 Bryce Kolar pretty happy to be that far in front of any other car.
And Kolar in a good spot where all he has to do is worry about the cars coming off to his right and his left, as he's not necessarily up on anybody, nor has anybody right in behind him. It's about as safe as you're gonna get, as Hopp a car length back of Moffitt. Both of them trying to chase down second and third in Bleem and Hassenfluck. And so far, 9 laps to go. Lots can happen. You've got Jenkins up on Rudell going through the intersection. Your leader getting past Funk another time. There is so much going on, hard to keep track of, but again, the green and black, number 23 of Bryce Kolar, your leader, and it is getting scary.
It's just incredible. And you know, you always hear drivers talking about they don't lift, which means they're not lifting off the accelerators that come through the intersection. And Kolar seems to be really living out that mantra right now in the 23 car, and he's been successful thus far. And as we see the 16X of Bill Bleem kind of going around a little bit of lap traffic right now, and the 03 of Lucas Hassenfluck trying to do the same, but that right there was a dangerous situation as well.
Cody Weldon's kind of the chaos maker of that group right now as they're racing, trying to get by him. The lap traffic, meanwhile, all going for spots. Kolar is safe, but behind him, second, third, fourth, and fifth, all kinds of side-by-side and getting in through the intersection here as we come into 5 to go for Kolar.
Yeah, and it looks like at this point at least 3 or 4 cars separates Kolar and Bill Bleem, and so a lot of separation, a lot of room for Kolar. And as we see right there in the intersection, you just got done talking about it, Devin Jenkins gets into the 46 of Hathaway.
Well, Jenkins drops the window net. You can see him moving his hands in there. So good news there as he took a door shot. That is Jenkins coming through the intersection and Hathaway getting into him. So there it is a second time from Somerville's point of view. Yeah, that was quite the door shot. I was surprised it didn't happen earlier. So, okay, that was Hathaway we saw it first coming through the intersection and Jenkins getting in. Go figure, the 2 black and green cars in the track. Boom, right in the door panel. And that's why they build these roll cages so sturdy like they do. The Rep and Welded and Rail guys certainly put together a good cage. Good to see Jenkins drop the window net and immediately be signaling to the safety crew that he was alert and conscious. And, well, now let's stack them up, get ready to go as we've got 5 to go and they're doubled up behind.
And Kolar's going to take the green flag as Bill Bleem and the 03 of Lucas Hassenfluck, and it looks like Bleem having a little bit of issue there. He's going to be side by side now with the 16 of Peyton Hopp, who was in 4th and now trying to work his way up to 2nd as he almost takes a look to the inside there of Hassenfluck, but nothing happening there. The 03 able to block off the 16 car, but now back again wants to single file with your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, but Peyton Hopp now in your top 3.
Yeah, Hopp has had a good, patient race. He just picked his spots. He stayed out of trouble the whole way around. Bottom opens up for Peyton. He's got some room. Hassenfluck going to give him the lane down on the low side. Maybe try to beat him to the inside of the south pole as they're side by side coming to the white stripe. And we'll throw the checkered flag. 3 laps to go, and Peyton Hopp still battling with Lucas, although you figure he'll have the advantage coming through this set of corners.
Yeah, definitely so, and hopefully Bleem is able to come back up as he's getting into the side of Lucas Hassenfluck, and he's going to spin him around out of, you know, the north end pole area of this figure 8 course, and so unfortunate there for the 16X and the 03 as that's going to shake things up in this top 3.
Put Moffitt back up into the top 3. Right place, right time for the veteran, as the intersection is going to get just a little bit dicey on this final lap with the way that they have strung out for your race leader, Bryce Kolar. Kolar sees Bleem exit stage left, through to the back of the pack, and will skirt by just behind Cody Weldon. Peyton Hopp made one big run at him coming here to the left-hand corners, but that's going to be it. Give the win on opening night from dead last to the victory for Bryce Kolar. Peyton Hopp was buried as well. He will run 2nd. Randy Moffitt picks up 3rd, and down track side we go to the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort Podium.
The dude with the biggest head that I have ever met should see trying to fit a guy a helmet on this one. What an amazing race it was out there. There was a little bit of everything in that Stinger main, including a killer intersection strike. What all did you see?
A lot.
All right, so be a little more descriptive. I mean, car went forward, car went back, car made contact, a little bit of everything, right?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of contact. There was a lot of activity. It was fun. There was a lot of just going out there and racing.
Those kind of nights make for the best Stinger racing, don't they?
They do, absolutely.
Who else helped you get the car together this year?
A lot of me.
A lot of you, that's good. Anybody else?
I had a little help from the Shoe Car family. I did have some help from the Miller family. And that's about it.
Night number 1, 3rd place, congratulations.
Thank you.
Randy Moffitt, ladies and gentlemen, your 3rd place driver. Well, Peyton, much like Randy, car was back a little bit, car was forward a little bit, like a yo-yo. How did you end up in 2nd?
Oh man, I just had to be patient. I mean, there was a lot of bumping and banging that happened within the first 10 laps. You know, a lot of when you're starting in the back, you know, got some more inexperienced drivers or drivers who don't have a perfect line, so usually just wait for some cars to bump each other out of the way, and had to deal with some oil spill out in the north turn, and as well as some water that was on the lower turn. But you know, just made the moves when I needed to make them, and stay in the throttle in the intersection. That's how you get in the podium.
So quite literally, a little bit of everything, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's adrenalizing, and I couldn't ask for a better way to start the season. I mean, it's been a rough couple of weeks leading up to this event, but I'm glad to start.
Tell me a little bit who helps out in race car sponsors and crew.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Papa's Tavern, my main sponsor. I'd also like to thank GN Northwest, Plan B Garage, Exterior Wall Systems, Hornet's Nest Racing. All those guys have just been a huge help for me. I'd like to thank my crew chief and beautiful fiance, Alyssa. Love you, babe. And just all the fans that came out for the season opening night. And like I said, just couldn't ask for a better way to start off the season. Woo!
Great job. Peyton Hopp, ladies and gentlemen, your 2nd place. Well, Bryce, the family clears off, but man, what a memorable night for you and what a memorable A-main event.
Yes, it was. It was a blast. I had a good time, a lot of good racers. I worked hard from the back to get to the front. You just had to pick your moments. These guys are tough.
That intersection was hairy. Did you have a strategy going into how to navigate it?
Yeah, don't hit other cars and don't get hit.
Makes it easier keeping the car together and staying out in front at that point, doesn't it?
Very much so. At the end there, I was buying my time because I was leading with 5 to go, and they started catching me a little bit because I didn't want to deal with Cody Weldon.
But you did, and you end up picking up the trophy. Means a lot to get a win on opening night. Who helped you put the car together this year? Who all is supporting you?
I got to thank my best friend, Sam. He did a lot of work on my car. My mom's been there. Josh has been there. Pretty much my whole family. It's a family thing. Talent's hoping to be out here hopefully in a couple weeks.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Bryce Kohler, our winner in the Buzz-In Steakhouse Stinger 8s. Excited that you guys are spending your Sunday nights with us here on Home Track Heroes on Seattle 11. It is time for the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Models, their season lid lifter here on the Monroe Grocery Outlet 70th season opener. Of course, big thank you our presenting sponsor, Gene Johnson, Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Your lineup for the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Models looks like this.
All right, starting out on row number 1, the K9 Caden Holmes, sponsored by Johansson Mechanical. On the outside is the 18 of Naima Lang, brought to you by J&R Truck Rentals.
Welcome back, Trent Moriarty inside row number 2, the Brock Reynolds Inc. number 12, and next to him, Wyatt Gardner, your quick qualifier on the night, been the quickest car every time he hit the track tonight. Between practice sessions, qualifying, a happy 10 that we had going on, that's the Edwards Construction number 3.
Row number 3, sponsored by Joe's Racing Products. It's the 78 of Haley Constance. On the outside, the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick, sponsored by Trademark RCS.
Fourth row is Chase Gardner, the Quality Towing number 32 car. Next to him, the Chevrolet sponsored 45 of Nick Beecher.
And row number 5, it's the 14 of Colton Price, sponsored by Northwest Boiler. On the outside, the 82 of Angel Cervantes, sponsored by Dirt Cheap Sewer.
Final row, Beecher Motorsports sponsors the 74 of Dan Beecher, and it is the NPM Welding and Fabrication LLC 68 of Jimmy Apsher, 12 cars, 50-lap A main event tonight as we are underway.
Just like that, side-by-side Naima Lang, the K9 of Caden Holm, as they're bringing a lot of excitement here on this first lap as they come out of turn number 3 into turn number 4 and down the front stretch. But Naima Lang holding firm to that outside lane as they still remain side-by-side with just a little bit of the edge going right now to the K9 of Caden Holm.
Holm, good drive on lap number 1. Down to the inside he goes. Lang going to tuck in, try to follow him. Caution flag out already. And making his late model debut, it's Jimmy Apsher having a problem in the 68 car as he's off exploring our lovely manicured grass in turn number 3. Let's take a look and see how it happened from the interior of the cockpit of the Apsher car. Coming through the corner, gets off, and yep, just hooked it barely on the outside of the racetrack, and that sends him around the wrong direction, does Jimmy. We'll get him refired, restarted. And at the back of the field, now just one lap in. They'll go 2 by 2 once again. Everybody on the lead lap. And we saw Holm from the inside. Pretty good lap number 1. See if he can replicate it.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think they always appreciate High Road Promotions loves having Jimmy Apsher do a little free mowing there on the backstretch. So, you know, Jimmy, I don't want to see you keep it up, but I think maybe Doug might like to see that a little bit.
Well, he as exciting as he has been in a mini stock, right? Putting him in a late model. He's going to figure out how to be fast, but it'll be exciting at the same time. So we'll see what he does back of the field here. Green flag, and this time Naima gets a better jump. Look at the momentum through turn number 2. We could have our second race leader in as many laps because Naima Lang gets downstairs and gets the door closed. Lang leads on lap 2.
Yeah, what a great move there down the backstretch to the outside of the K9 of Caden Holm. It's Naima Lang in the 18 car, and he is cruising now out of turn number 2 down the backstretch. And, you know, something we're so used to seeing is Naima Lang obviously getting into that lead, but then he is one of the best that I've ever seen, at least, at holding that exact lane that he wants to be the whole time. And, you know, people have a really hard time passing by because he's on that inside track hard.
Guys, like I said, Wyatt Gardner had been the fastest car on the racetrack all day. Every session that he was in, and now he is up to 3rd already. So he picked up a spot in the opening start. Now he is bird dogging Caden Holm. That's the battle we're watching for 2nd. The white with orange and black K9, and the black 3 of Wyatt Gardner behind them. Chad Fitzpatrick is in the white and orange 12. Haley Constance, the black and pink 78. Trenton Moriarty, the beautifully deckled up number 12.
And it looks like Chad has a nice new paint scheme on that 12C car, so looks very sharp. I was kind of looking really closely to see, is that Chad Fitzpatrick? And yes, indeed, it is in the 12C.
Those of you who were around in 1984, myself, not one of them, would recognize the Gary Bechtold paint scheme from 40 years ago, and that is what Chad is honoring this year, the 40-year anniversary of Gary Bechtold's scheme. So kind of a cool throwback. The trademark RCS sponsored 12 car. Top three, can't quite throw a blanket over them. It'd have to be an awfully big blanket. They are awfully tight up front. Just a half car length separating the three. In fact, all getting racing, closing up on Nema going into turn one there. Nema getting away on the back straightaway again, 7 laps into this.
Yeah, Nema definitely getting a little bit of separation down the backstretch, but as we come into those corners, Caden Holm is doing a great job there, sticking with the 18 car, and you see right behind him, you talked about Wyatt Gardner in that 3, just really pushing this field here, trying to get up around that K9 of Caden Holm as they kind of get a little bit more separation down the backstretch, but love to see how tight that grouping is getting as they come into turn 3 and 4.
Right now, running consistent laps up in front, 8 laps into this, you can see Holm back end of the car shaking a little bit down the front straightaway as you think might be shaking the steering wheel, thinking about making a move to the high side as he rolls in hard going into 3 and applies the chrome horn to the back of Lang. Now, you're not going to shake a veteran like Lang by doing that. In fact, opens the low side up for Gardner to try to get by in turn 1.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Caden Holm, but like you said, opening the door there for the 3 car of Wyatt Gardner, and Wyatt's going to take advantage as we look back to Haley Constance in the 78, trying to get by the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick, and Haley is going to do just that as the 78 car is now just moved up another spot.
Constance muscling up, passing on the inside and into 4th. Going to knock on the door for a podium here in a couple of seconds if she can catch up to Holm. Meanwhile, Wyatt Gardner up to the back of Nema Lang. And again, Lang the veteran, you can't play games with him. He's not going to get shook. You're going to have to find a legit spot to get by him. Wyatt in the trail position, but again, he's had the car speed all day long. Now, does he have it when it counts here in the AMA?
You know, we're starting to see too, and I'm not sure, Caleb, if you have an explanation for it, but down that backstretch, there's just so much separation that starts to play into it. When they come into those turns, obviously a lot tighter of a grouping, but you know, we're seeing it again here as we see 18 of Nema Lang kind of maybe a little bit better out of that turn number 2, just kind of pulling away from the 3 of Wyatt Gardner, but Wyatt's doing a great job as they come into turns 3 and 4, catch back up.
Just a difference in where they're choosing to pick up their acceleration point is Gardner has got a lane underneath Nema going into turn number 1. Through the apex of the turn, door panel is ahead of Lang, new race leader going into 3. It's Wyatt Gardner. What you're seeing there, Greg, is where they're choosing to pick up the throttle through the corner. The old adage is you can either be really good getting into the corner or you can be really good coming out. It just depends on how far you want to drive in versus where you want to pick up the throttle. If you want to drive in deeper, you have to pick the throttle back up later. If you want to lift a little bit earlier, you can pick up the throttle sooner. And that kind of depends on, shows you how much gap you're making up the corner or not. So right now, what we know is Wyatt Gardner made up that gap and is stretching. Look how much space he's put between himself and Nema here in just a couple of laps. As we're 16, now 17 into this, and 4 car lengths between the leader and the 8-time and defending track champion.
Yeah, like you said, Wyatt Gardner doing a great job here coming down the backstretch as we take a look for the battle for 3rd. Caden Holm, the K9, still holding off the 78 of Haley Constance, but Constance making a move to the low side out of turn number 4. We'll see coming down the front stretch, maybe have an advantage into turn number 1. They're going to be side by side, and look at Haley Constance go side by side with Caden Holm as they come down the backstretch.
We saw it in her first feature win last year. Haley has picked up her ability to capitalize on mistakes of others. When the door opens, she is ready to step through. She'll do it right there and move into 3rd position. Haley Constance in the 78 car, now in the top 3, and she's going to see if she can hunt down Lang for 2nd.
Yeah, great moves there and being able to get around the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick. As you see, Fitzpatrick still right behind Caden Holm, but nice moves there by the 78 cars. We see them coming down the front stretch here. 30 laps now to go as we take a look once again to Haley Constance, now pulling away from Caden Holm in the K9 car.
Battle between a couple of kids who aren't quite old enough to crack open a Busch Beer. Busch Beer, the official beer of NASCAR and Evergreen Speedway. Busch Beer, the sound of refreshment, crisp and cold as a mountain stream. Keeping the fridge happy by stocking it with Busch Beer, the official beer of Evergreen Speedway. Busch and Busch Light. Busch.
And as Wyatt Gardner pulling away, as we talked about earlier on, from Nema Lang, it looks like Constance is reining in 18 of Name Lang as they come out of turn number 2 and towards the backstretch. As we take a look a little bit further back, that was Trent Moriarty, but Wyatt Gardner, look at how much separation he has between himself and the 18 of Name Lang, but now Constance right on that back bumper of the 18 of Lang.
Haley entering the corner a half groove lower than Nema as they come in and through the racetrack. Down the back straightaway, Nema opens it up a little bit on the back straightaway, but kind of similar to what Wyatt did. Haley gains through the center of the corner and off. It is Lang and Constance in the race for second as we're coming up on halfway this time by. And interesting enough, you're seeing a lot of backfire coming out of all of those engines. This night, compared to the day, it got awfully cool and the weather changed. I wonder if some of these drivers are wishing that they had a chance to get back under their hood and adjust the fuel settings a little bit, because there's a lot of flame showing on a lot of these race cars.
Talking about perfect timing as they see the side of the 18 of Name Lang, and just as you spoke it into existence, we see them coming down the backstretch into turn number 3. Constance once again trying to take a look to the low side out of turn 3 into turn 4 as they come down the front stretch, but the veteran Name Lang still holding off the 78 car as they come into turns 1 and 2.
Nema, left side tires just a hair below the white line coming at it too, and you can see Haley's down a full, basically half tire lower than him in through that turn. They took a different path through turn 3 and 4 that time. As Constance, this is not a mirror image. It looks like they're running very similar lines, but there's enough differentiation between the two of them that you can tell Haley is seeking every little spot she can on the raceway, and Lang is doing a textbook job of not giving her the opportunity to get by.
You know, and it almost seems like to me, Caleb, I could be wrong on this, but it seems like Constance was being very patient too, right? Not trying to push the envelope and taking an opportunity that's not there, just waiting for that time to strike, and just seems very methodical to say, hey, I'm gonna, hopefully you're gonna open the door. Name Lang might not open that door, but just really looking for that prime opportunity.
You know, if this was a 75 lapper, I think there'd be a lot of merit to that, but this is a little short sprint, right? This is a 50 lapper. There's no need to conserve tire. There's no need to do anything but go for it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Her dad is the spotter for her. He's the one that's in her ears, and he isn't telling her, hey girl, you don't have 50 more laps, you got 20. So step on it and go. If opportunity presents, you can't wait around for it. She's probably not getting more than one on them here.
Yes, indeed. As we take a look once again back to the battle for second, the 18 of Name Lang, the 78 of Haley Constance, as we see the 68 of Jimmy Absher just re-entering here. So nice to see that. And the 74 of Dan Beecher. Looks like he's going to lap down here as your leader, Wyatt Gardner, still the number 3. I haven't talked about him for a little while because he's been a little bit out of frame.
Well, look out, Jimmy Absher, loop-de-loo off the corner, and Caden Holm, who was running up in the top 5 at the same time in synchronized car spinning. Let's take a look at it from Absher, who got just below that white rumble strip again and couldn't save it coming out of the corner. As they roll around, no damage to the Absher car. Here's the viewpoint from Holm's point of view. Just misses Absher, but couldn't save it himself. We need to take a commercial break. We will be back with our final segment of the night coming up as you are watching Home Track Heroes presented by Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical on Seattle 11. Final segment of the night here on Home Track Heroes on Seattle 11. He is Greg Pyland. I am Caleb Hart, and we are just beyond the halfway point of a fantastic Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model A main event. 31 laps down, Wyatt Gardner looking for his first Pro Late Model win here at Evergreen Speedway, and he has got Name Lang starting to the outside of him. Our program tonight brought to you by Gene Johnson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, as we are back to green flag action, Name on the outside, and this is going to be tough and gritty for Wyatt, one of the best starters and restarters here in our Pro Late Models. Lang to his outside, but Wyatt gets the jump on the restart.
Yeah, and what a great move there as we saw him going down the backstretch and kind of almost went to that wide lane to try and block Name Lang as they came into turn number 3, and it certainly worked out well as we see Wyatt Gardner once again back in that lead spot with Haley Constance trying to work to the low side of Name Lang as they come down the backstretch. You have Chad Fitzpatrick in the 12 still holding off the 14 of Colton Price, who's side by side right now in some action with the 32 of Chase Gardner.
Two drivers we haven't had a chance to highlight at all, and Colton Price in the 14 car. And boy, Chase Gardner looking awfully good here. Second year in the late model. They've made some strides. He's up in 6th right now as the 32.
Yeah, doing a great job as we see Colton Price now in the 14, right behind Chad Fitzpatrick in the 12 as they come out of turn number 4 down the front stretch. And we have 17 laps to go as once again we take a look back to the 78 of Haley Constance and the 18 of Naima Lang. The continued battle for second, still hot as it was before, and they are still continuing to battle as they come out of turn number 4 and down the front stretch, with Constance looking like she was maybe trying to take a look on that low side. Nothing there happening as Naima Lang doing a great job coming back on the low side.
Great battle here in the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center Monroe. Your customized truck, lifted truck, work truck, and Speedway Chevrolet can locate the truck that fits you best home. Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center also wants your trade and will buy or consign your vehicle or RV to take the hassle out of selling it on your own.
So once again, taking a look back to the 14 of Colton Price, Chad Fitzpatrick, and the 12 as they come into turn number 3. We see the 32 of Chase Gardner just coming into frame, as well as they come out of turn number 4 down the front stretch. 14 laps now here to go, as Fitzpatrick still doing a great job holding off Colton Price. Price taking a look to the low side out of turn number 2, nothing happening there, and we see Fitzpatrick speed away down the back stretch, but that's a fun battle here between the 12 and the 14.
Down to just a handful left. 38 in, 12 to go, and again, you see how much further down racetrack. Through that shot alone, Constance is keeping the car, at least in turns 1 and 2. More similar lines through 3, exit of 4. Lang's got that back end stepping out just a hair on him as he continues to try to hold off Haley Constance with a half car length in between them with 11 left. Constance knows time is up. She's got to go. And now has a little bit more of a run to the inside going into 1. Oh, taps the rear quarter panel. Naima wiggles a little bit. Bye-bye, Haley. She'll get by. Constance into second. Naima now third.
What a move by the 78 of Haley Constance. Like I said, just that little bit of that tap in turn number 1 allowed enough of a wobble for the 78 car to pass the 18 of Naima Lang, as Lang now coming out of turn number 2 and falling off a little bit, maybe about 4 car lengths behind as they come now into turn number 3 and catching back up with the 78 of Haley Constance. But, you know, it almost seemed like a veteran move for somebody who's not a veteran driver, really, although Haley's been racing out at Evergreen Speedway for a few years now.
You know, I had seen her coming off the corner, and she was just a hair groove lower, and it looked like Naima had opened his entrance up just a bit. That contact, you know, whether incidental or not, enough to get Naima wiggling. Bye-bye, Haley. Right place, right time there. So she's into second. She's got a long ways to run down your race leader, Wyatt Gardner, and now she doesn't have to. As the 14 into the back of the 12 is around and the yellow is out.
Yeah, and we just see Colton Price here just getting right into the back of Chad Fitzpatrick in the 12 car, and that's going to spin out Chad in turns 1 and 2. And here's a look from Caden Holmes' perspective, and yeah, just a really good job of nearly avoiding all contact by the 14 of Colton Price around Chad Fitzpatrick, but Caden Holm unfortunately takes a little bit more of the brunt of that spin out.
Gets a little bit of the right front in, so Fitzpatrick to the back of the field, and now 2 by 2 single-digit laps left to go. Wyatt Gardner looking for win number 1, but now the ultra-hungry Haley Constance on the outside of him with 7 left to restart this.
And how fun is it to watch the 18 of Naima Lang now right behind the 3 of Wyatt Gardner as they are rounding out for this restart here as they come out of turn number 4 and down the front stretch. So we're going to have Caden Holm on the outside of Naima Lang and Haley Constance on the outside of Wyatt Gardner. But what a fun restart here, and we see Wyatt Gardner just starting to pull ahead of the 78, but now is Naima Lang going to come to the low side of Haley Constance as they come out of 4?
She's fighting down there. Gardner goes around and collects up with the 68 of Absher at the back. The caution flag is out here. So they're going to get to do that again. And you saw Haley was nose ahead of the line. Might be getting a warning through the officials channel to stay even with your leader.
Yeah, and there you go. You just see Gardner just getting spun out, and unfortunately for Jimmy Absher, he's been in a lot of these pains as we see a lot of accidents involving the 68 of Jimmy Absher.
I think that's going to do it for the night for Jimmy. He may head to the pit side and say, oh, okay, I got 43 good ones in. As you can see, around goes Chase, who's had a really good night unto his own. So let's try it again. This is going to give Constance a second try, but again, she was a nose ahead coming to the white line, so she's going to have to be a little more careful, because if that happens again, very easily called for going early, and that might cost her a spot. Lang is going to look to follow the path. If he can follow Gardner to the inside, he's got a real chance to get back door panel to door panel with Haley and maybe take second back. It's kind of a precarious situation for the 78, who is again out front and door closing or trying to, and there's the yellow.
Like I said, it was almost like a half car length that Haley Constance had over Wyatt Gardner on that restart, and so I really hate to see that.
They did not levy the warning the first time. They do levy a warning this time. So one more and she will be penalized. Now you got to be super careful. Now you saw some people go, oh, she was a little ahead. Now, okay, now you've actually been called for being ahead. So
in this situation too, I would imagine, like you said, Haley Constance has in her mind right now that she has to be ultra conservative on this restart. What that has to mean too is, you talked about Nema having maybe an advantage to be able to get to the underside of the 78 car, and hopefully maybe that works in the 18 car's favor here.
Even that time, she's still got a good start in that outside lane, though. That 78 car very well handling here tonight. The question is, Nema up to the inside, Wyatt getting away. Can Constance get back downstairs and keep Lang at bay? Lang's going to lean on her a little bit. Turnabout is fair play into the corner, leaves the quarter panel alone, though. And Constance may be able to reestablish second.
Yeah, what a great move there by Haley Constance. I thought for certain after coming out of turn number 2, as we see some issues there getting spun around, as the 45 of Nick Beecher. So the 45 of Nick Beecher, unfortunately there in turn number 3 and 4, kind of sending it out into the grass.
A little soft out there too with all the precipitation we've had in the Northwest, so this might take a second or two to get him out and safely get the car off racetrack as he goes and visits the tire wall. Here's a look from Nick's point of view as he gets into the corner.
So just a little bit of contact with Cervantes there?
Oh, a hair. That'll happen in late model racing, though. This is par for the course. So we will come back to A-main action as you get a look into the corner as Beecher off to a stop. So once again, side-by-side restart here for Wyatt Gardner, whose blood pressure has got to be ticking up just a little bit more. Again, Wyatt is looking for his first pro late model A-main event win here at Evergreen Speedway. And boy, he has had a super challenging offseason, a lot of stuff going on in his personal world. We'll give him a chance to address that, whether he will or not, if he can make the podium here tonight. But this would be a emotional, meaningful win for Gardner if he can pull it off beyond just getting his first feature win.
Yeah, so we go out of 4 and into the restart. A little wonky there. It looks like Wyatt Gardner able to get ahead, but we saw Constance kind of fall back behind quite a bit there on that restart from that front row, and that allows Nema Lang to now jump into that second spot. And here comes Caden Holm trying to work to the low side of Constance, but Constance able to shut down that door as they come out of turn number 4 across the start-finish line. Now 4 laps to go.
So Constance going to have to work to try to get back to the inside once again. Fitzpatrick after his spin out, and Holm after his spin out back up to 4th and 5th. Those two are going to battle. Good to see them rallying back through the field as Gardner is taking off, and this has got to feel awfully good for him. As there goes Haley back to the inside again in 1 and 2. 1 and 2 has been the action corner here, and she'll make the pass on Lang. Once again, into second goes Constance. Lang, big drive back, but can't quite get up to the rear bumper cover of Constance, and he will settle into third.
Gosh, and if you're Haley Constance right now and you think back to the history that Nema Lang has out at Evergreen Speedway, the number of championships he's had, to be able to pass him twice in the same race in turns 1 and 2, I'd be holding my head pretty darn high after that point.
1 to go for Gardner, looking for that first win. You know, Wyatt has worked extraordinarily hard on his program. He's the only guy on the West Coast running the All-American late model chassis. So it would be 1 of 1 for him, score 1 for a chassis builder who hasn't got one up here as well, and a big one for the fam. He's going to get the job done. Congratulations, Wyatt Gardner, your first win, followed by Haley Constance and Nema Lang. Let's get some thoughts from your top 3 at the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort Podium.
Had a little bit of everything. Talk to me about it from your perspective.
Yeah, it was, my car wasn't very good through the middle, and I was just doing everything I could to keep the spot I had. But it was a good race. A lot of late cautions there. It kind of makes everything frustrating, but it was good.
You're thought of as one of the best restarters here at Evergreen Speedway. You said frustrating. Some of us thought that would have played into your advantage.
Well, I tried to, but, I get too many warnings, so I just try to, run right.
Well, get too many warnings. We all know what happens. Congrats. Good way to debut with a third. You want to say thank you to anybody tonight?
Yeah, J&R Truck Rentals, Lang Auto Sports, and Tracy DeYoung. But I got to give props to Wyatt. He ran a good race. His car was so good. And I know his dad was riding with him tonight, and I'm so proud of him.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Haley, that was a dogfight coming from about 3 rows back. Tell me about it from what you saw. You really worked hard to get forward.
Yeah, I was there behind Nema for a little bit. I wish I could have passed him a little bit differently, but when you're under the pressure of 10 to go, you got to do what you got to do. I'm grateful. He has so much respect for me, and it's mutual. So thankfully he didn't give it to me back too hard, but grateful to be here in second.
You did have to start and restart quite a bit there down at the end. Did you have a strategy going in and through it?
I try not to have a strategy. If I do, then it messes with me more than it messes with the other person. So I just try to keep a calm mind and just go and not jump the start, but
Oops.
yeah.
So just feel it, and whatever the race car is coming up to do, follow it, roll through, and what comes, what may.
Exactly.
Heck of a night tonight. Congratulations on your charge up the field. I know how many people are involved in your racing organization and such. Who all deserves a shout out?
Yeah, huge thank you to my family, my dad especially. God, they helped me through everything. They've supported me for all the years I've been racing. Mazda of Everett, Angela Pioli, she's out here watching tonight. Gabe, Central Welding Supply, Joe's Racing Products, Constance Machine, DeYoung Inc. I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot of people, but congrats to Wyatt on the win, and that's it.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Haley Constance, your runner-up tonight. Wyatt, you were the fastest car on the racetrack. Basically every time that you hit the track, you were cruising for 30 laps, and then we got into this cycle of restart, restart, restart. How did you deal with that?
Oh, it was, I came over the radio and I was like, I don't have a lot of experience starting on the front row, so the 78 schooled me a few times on those restarts, but we got the hang of it a little bit later, and it was the longest 5 laps in my life, I think.
Did you feel from the time that you unloaded today that this was the night?
I mean, going into the offseason, we busted our tails to make sure that the car we brought to the racetrack was the best possible car we could bring, and I mean, we had a lot of glimpses of speed last year. We just could never get it done. There was just something special about today. We unloaded, and car had a lot of speed. It turned good. I mean, after first practice, we qualified on the pole and just kept going. It's a lot of hard work goes into this.
There's some people out here that know what's been going on in your private life and what this really means to you, and we'll give you a couple of seconds. If you want to share that, absolutely. If not, we kind of understand the serendipity of this win.
Yeah, no, it's special for the whole family. First thing he probably would have said to me was, man, how'd you let her beat you on those few restarts? But, special day, and it'll be special for a long time.
Congratulations from all of us, man. I know there's somebody up above you'd want to say thank you to, but there's a whole lot of people that are here that need some recognition as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pacific Lighting Systems, Edwards Construction, War Shocks, Grand American Race Cars. Augie Grill built a great piece. We have the only 2 on the West Coast, and we're finally starting to find some speed in them. But, yeah, just my crew. I mean, my guys, I don't have heat in my shop. It was about 20 degrees in there a lot of days, but they braved it, and we put together 2 race cars for this year, and can't wait to see what comes next, and we'll head over to Tri-Cities next week.
I'm going to grab this trophy for you. You and your family enjoy this on the stage, all right?
Thank you, Caleb.
Wyatt Gardner, ladies and gentlemen, your winner tonight at Evergreen Speedway.
Super cool win for Wyatt Gardner. What a way to end our first show here on Home Track Heroes for season number 5, Greg.
Yeah, it's just such a pleasure to be a part of the 70th year, the 70th anniversary of Evergreen Speedway, and a lot of fun to come out here and see all the action tonight. So much fun.
It was a good night of show. We're going to do it all over again next week here on Home Track Heroes. You have got Outlaw Figure 8, Super Stock Figure 8s, Legends, Hornets, and mini stocks, as well as bus racing. So don't miss it. Coming up next Sunday, 5 to 7 here on Seattle 11 Of course, you can come back to Evergreen Speedway the next time live and in person and see basically the exact same show that just ran. That is coming up next Saturday. We hope you will join us. For Greg Pyland, I am Caleb Hart. A big thank you to all the camera crew, Griff and Derek, and all the guys and gals with the film, Brandy for the in-car shots, and of course a big thank you to Gene Johnson, Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, our sponsor all season long. Hope you'll join us next Sunday. It is season number 5 of Home Track Heroes here on Seattle 11.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on Seattle 11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.